So when a believer doesn't have that firm conviction, that firm stand, that when temptation comes or when trials come, is easily shifted or easily turned aside. So when that conviction is not there, is not really strong enough, he will definitely backslide or deviate. So that strong conviction is one of the factors that you must have as a Christian to hold on to the very end.
Good day, everyone. Welcome to the episode 3 of The Voices. My name is Agboola Samuel, and with me here is
Ebuka Paul.
We are going to be speaking on a very, very important topic today. But before we continue, let's go on a short break.
The Voices is a talk show that brings to you value,
Orientation,
inspiration, Christ,
enlightenment,
and specialties.
Kindly check out for The Voices from
The Unconquerables. Please like, share, and subscribe. We are The Voices.
Welcome back to The Voices. Today we are going to be speaking on a very, very important session. Something that is very peculiar to the Christian youth of this generation. And what are we looking at today? We're looking at why do Christian youth deviate? We have a massive generation of youth that are dropping from the Christian faith. Those who are backsliding and going back to the world. And now, Ebuka Paul and I, we're going to be giving you insight on why. What is the reason? What is the reason behind the patterns of deviation, which you can also call compromise or backsliding among Christian youth? But before we continue, I would like to ask Brother Ebuka Paul, what can we establish as deviation? What does it mean to deviate as a Christian youth?
Okay, the term deviation, according to the dictionary, is turning aside from a particular course. So a Christian that deviates turns aside from the established beliefs and the values he has as a Christian, and turning aside is also classify that as compromise, backsliding, or shifting from one's faith to the other. So compromise.
Yes, that's it. As a believer, as someone who has accepted Christ, as someone who has believed, due to one circumstance or due to one factor or the other, renounces his faith and goes back to the world system, goes back to where goes back to where to the things he has been doing before. That is deviation, and that is backsliding, that is compromise. So we want to look at the patterns. Why the Christian you backslide? Why do you deviate from their faith? Firstly, you must know that backsliding starts from the heart and not the actions. Backsliding starts from the heart and not the action. My brother here will be giving us an insight. Why? How can you say that backsliding doesn't start from what you are doing, but what is inside of you? What do you think of that, sir?
Okay, firstly, I would say backsliding is not an instant case. It doesn't just start from the very beginning.
Yes.
It has a process, a due process, and the devil tries to, the mind and the heart is the battlefield where we fight. It reminds me of this Joyce Meyer's book, Battlefield of the Mind, how the devil comes in the mind and tries to bring suggestions. So he's still a Christian, though. He's still a Christian. He's still following after God, and then he brings in suggestions into his heart. That is when he tries to deviate, trying to tempt him to turn aside from the faith. So the mind is what we have to be conscious of. Have to be mindful of this heart. Have to be careful with what we feed our minds with. Careless youths or careless Christians are not really observant, are not really careful of what the content that comes into their mind, the content that they allow into their heart, and actually defile them and actually turn them aside from the faith. So we should be careful with what we allow into the heart, because that's our battlefield.
Yes. The mind is the battlefield. Backsliding starts from the mind. It starts from what we receive. The content we receive into our heart. And that's why the book of Proverbs says, guard your heart with all diligence, for out of it are the issues of life. You see, backsliding does not start from your actions. It starts from your heart. That is it. Next thing we're going to see is the issue of isolation. Isolation. After the devil works on our minds, what the next thing that he tries to do is to isolate us from our fellow believers. An isolated believer will be an easy prey for the devil. And what the devil does, he tries to isolate us from our fellow believers. And now we are going to, Ebenezer Paul will be expounding on that for us. How can isolation be a contribution to a believer's deviation?
Okay, that's a very good question. Isolation. They said an idle man is the devil's workshop. So after he has succeeded in planting the seed of doubt or suggestions and all of that in the heart, it now makes you isolate yourself from those people that are your manpower, like your source of power. Those believers that might be of help to your spiritual life. I will try to encourage you to boom and to become firing for God. And when there is a shift, when there is a distance, when you distance yourself from those believers, it brings you to your closet. And when you are in your closet, it now there is this kind of is now very, very active in manipulating that situation. It's now very active in trying to bring in more vigor and more power to those thoughts, those ideas that's brought to you. And while that is done, the believer might swear aside because it's only him that is there, and iron sharpeneth iron.
Yes.
When you are with people of like minds, they are sharpened to those spiritual things that will encourage you and bring you up. So when you are away from them, so isolation is one of the key factors that the devil uses to deviate the believer from Christ.
Yes. Devil isolates believers in order to make them an easy prey. And once you are isolated, you are deviated from those, you are separated from those who can challenge you, people who can speak to you, people who can correct you, and people who you can see, and be challenged by their lives. Once you are at home, you are not seeing the person, the regular person you used to see praying, regular person that used to counsel you. You are isolated from that person, and that you are on a journey to backsliding.
And one thing that comes into my mind is this: at first, when you give your life to Christ, there is this kind of decision, strong conviction. So when a believer doesn't have that firm conviction, that firm stand, that when temptation comes or when trials come, is easily shifted or easily turned aside. So when that conviction is not there, it's not really strong enough, it will definitely backslide or deviate. So that strong conviction is one of the factors that you must have as a Christian to hold on to the very end.
The area of conviction. Many believers have no conviction of what is right and what is wrong. They are easily swayed away, just like a fish in the river. They flow by the current of the water, and that is why conviction is very necessary as a believer. Those who lack conviction would receive direction from the devil, and that is the reason why believing youth deviate.
And one of the points I will try to bring in is the fact you, as a believer, you go to those people that are more spiritual or are more stronger in the faith than you are, and when you are close to them, their influence gets to you, and they are fully charged by their exhortation, and their way of life encourages you. But when a believer turns those source of power, those source of encouragement, they turn those source aside, deviation might creep in, because those power source is not there anymore. And one of the factors is also the source, that is God is the source. And we should not forget the source, that is God, as our main source of power. So if we turn aside, deviation.
That's true. And yeah, that is actually true. When we turn aside from people, our sources of encouragement, sources of edification, then deviation begins to set in. Another area we must consider is the area of friendship. The area of friendship. Friends, friendship with unbelievers, friendship with people that do not share the same idea, the same values, the same conviction that we have as Christian youth. When we have friends, when our friendship is more of those that are unbelievers, then there's a tendency for us to deviate from the Christian faith. Bro, Ebenezer Paul, can you expatiate on that, on how friendship, on it, like friendship with unbelievers, friendship with people that do not share the same passion with us, how did they hinder also? How did they cause us to deviate from the Christian faith?
Iron sharpeneth iron, and if the iron that is involved is not sharp, that iron will not be able to sharpen you as well. So these believers, these your friends, are not, they don't have the same value, the same belief system as you are. They don't believe what you believe. So there is a different perspective. Your point of view is going a different way. When you come together, there'll be a clash of suggestion, there'll be a clash of ideas, and that cannot stand when you have a different party. There'll be fight. So you have to have friends that have the same minds, the same passion, and the same ideas as you as a Christian. So going along with unbelievers and friends that are ungodly is one of the keys the devil used to blindfold us and to bring in negative suggestions to us. So those things are one of the things we must consider as a Christian. Friends with born again Christians, friends with people that share the same minds and passion as we are.
That is true. Finally, we are going to look on the case of prayer and study. Lack of prayer and study. Lack of consistent prayer and consistent study. There are many people, many youth, many believers, they don't have a consistent prayer life. They don't have a consistent study life. They have not studied somebody said, if you can give your time and give your energy to study the subject that will determine your future in life on earth, why can you not give your time to study subjects that will determine your eternity in forever? If you can give your time to study subjects that will determine your future on earth, why can you not give your time to study subjects that will determine your eternity forever? Brother Ebenezer Paul, can you give us an insight on how lack of prayer, consistent prayer, and personal Bible study can cause division from the Christian faith as a youth?
Okay. Personal Bible study and prayer life, and our consistent prayer life, breeds intimacy. So it makes us more intimate with God.
Yes.
So we try to neglect this part of our lives, prayer life and Bible study. There is a gap between us and God. There is certain gap that divides us with God, because that's our prayer life and Bible study is no more there again. We are being distant from God. So the devil comes in that direction and bring distraction, bring other things that will try to turn us aside, because of our prayer life and our Bible study is not effective anymore. So we have to make our prayer life effective, and also try to pray with all those believers that are of like minds, of like passions. So those when we are together, we pray together, we have this intimacy with God and all of that. So we should develop our prayer life and our personal Bible study. It helps us a lot.
Yeah, personal prayer life and Bible study. He said it before. He has made it very clear that lack of prayer causes a distance between us and God. That means there's a distance, there's a barrier between us and God. So therefore, having looked at these three major points that causes division, I would love to re-echo the major points that we have spoken about. Number one, we spoke about the point that backsliding does not start from the action, it starts from the acts. The devil works on the mind of believers before they manifest it in action as backsliding. Number two, we spoke about isolation. The devil isolates young believers from people who can encourage them, people who can show them the way of God, people who can show them the way of salvation. The devil makes sure he isolates them, and isolation will lead to deviation from God's word. Number three, we see that lack of study and personal prayer life also is a very, very potent tool, or a very potent cause of backsliding. We have come to the end of the session. Bro Ebenezer Paul, can you give us your last words on this?
Okay, my last word on this is that we should maintain this close intimacy with God. We should not distance ourselves from people that will help us spiritually. For us not to deviate, we have to come close to believers and get something from them. That is one of the things that will help us to stand. And our convictions matter a lot. Our convictions and our decisions must be firm and solid. That we can stand firm when the devil comes in and will not be able to deviate.
That was a very powerful session. Very powerful session on why Christian youth. Join us for more powerful content on the Unconquerables. Don't forget to like, share,
and subscribe to our channel for more edifying and enriching content that will bless your life spiritually, physically, and in all areas of life. See you next time. Bye.
The Voices is a talk show that brings to you value,
Orientation,
inspiration, Christ,
enlightenment,
and specialties.
Kindly check out for the voices from
The Unconquerables. Please like, share, and subscribe. We are The Voices.